to How to Make the Most of Marketing Automation from SilverTech. We're a digital marketing agency working to redefine how businesses engage with and understand their customers. I'm your host, Ian Hughes, content strategist here at SilverTech, write for SilverTech's blog, podcast, and our webinars. I'm HubSpot inbound and partner certified, and I have experience as a user of Pardot. I'm joined again by Samantha Maltus, SilverTech's principal strategist, marketing manager, and marketing automation expert. Welcome, Sam.
Thanks, Ian.
This is the fourth in our series of Lead to Loyal webinars. Lead to Loyal allows marketers to navigate and optimize the customer experience better than ever before. By understanding each individual customer interaction, SilverTech drives engagement with integrated business intelligence to enhance both customer-facing and internal user experiences. On the agenda today, we're going to discuss email marketing versus marketing automation. We'll try and rethink marketing automation. Then we'll share 10 tips to make the most of marketing automation. And then we will get into how to choose the right platform.
That sounds great, Ian. So before we dive in, let's do a quick show of hands. So are you currently using marketing automation? And so we're going to launch that poll. We'll let that take a second to collect. Wait a few minutes for everyone to get in there. It looks like about, we're close. Just a few more. All right, so overwhelmingly, 90% of you are not currently using marketing automation, which is probably the reason that you're here joining us today.
Yeah, well, you've come to the right place. Yeah.
And 10%, yes, you are. So hopefully, for those who are, we can share a couple more tips in terms of how you can get the most out of that investment. And for those of you that aren't, we'll share some good things in terms of how you can get started. So this will be a great presentation for everyone.
So first up then, email marketing versus marketing automation. Let's start with why do you need a marketing automation platform? So from HubSpot's newly published State of Inbound 2017, it just came out last week, the top 3 marketing priorities over the next 12 months are converting contracts, leads to customers, growing website traffic, and increasing revenue derived from existing customers. These priorities make it clear that marketing is now measured against its ability to contribute to the business's bottom line. Yet without the right tools, proving ROI on each marketing initiative can remain a difficult task. Enter marketing automation.
So yes, and that marketing automation is no longer a nice to have. Quite simply, it's table stakes for modern marketers, serving the latest and greatest way to enhance and control that customer experience. Marketing automation is not a passing trend. Can't underscore that enough. It is an actionable and useful tool that, when implemented and executed properly, can make measurable impacts to an organization's bottom line.
Here's a nice summation from our partners at Marketo. Marketing automation helps scale marketing initiatives, deliver more personalized and targeted communications, align with sales, and measure which channels and programs are the most effective. So email marketing versus marketing automation. There still remains some confusion on the difference between email marketing and marketing automation. As email providers such as Constant Contact and MailChimp, they're incorporating more and more sophisticated automation features and list database management. So admittedly, the lines are blurring. However, the main source of this confusion may be that to date, marketing automation has been sold incorrectly. The pitch for marketing automation platforms usually centers around getting better leads and personalizing communications. Sam, can you address this thinking around marketing automations? It seems that the focus on acquisition can be a bit misleading. Have you encountered clients or partners who felt that all they had to do was turn marketing automation on and they'd immediately see results?
Yeah, I think almost, I would say a lot of the time, I'm not going to give a percentage, but a lot of the time we end up coming into a situation where that is the case. And it is true that all of the marketing automation systems, when there is a lot of time, effort, and energy put into them, can return some really awesome results for a business. Because it is sold that way. But we have to remember as marketers that there is no silver bullet. No tool is going to come in and just automatically be able to bring your business more views to your website or more pages or more leads and more conversions. It's really going to take some work on your part. And I think one of the confusion, or the biggest point of confusion, is really that Constant Contact MailChimp versus like a HubSpot and a Marketo or a Pardot discussion. It's the Pardot and Constant Contact and MailChimp. they do allow you to segment, and they do allow you to set up some minor workflows, but those aren't based on personalization. They're not based on personas. They're based on segments. So that can make it even more confusing. So basically, the bottom line is to start small, start strong, and the start small could potentially be just those basic features that are in MailChimp and Constant Contact, but you will quickly grow out of those if you're really looking for an inbound methodology into something that is more of a marketing automation platform.
Well put. Thank you, Sam. To help you more clearly differentiate the two, so a marketing automation platform, build personalized emails, segmentation, automated email responses, A/B testing, tracking, and analytics. Obviously, two, what our email marketing platform can do. But then the marketing automation platform gets into lead scoring and grading, lead nurturing, your landing pages and forms, online behavior tracking, social listening and scheduling, and the ever-important bi-directional CRM integration.
And don't get scared with this list. We're going to go through all of these in a little bit and what the differences are.
Here is some research from Ascend2. What marketing technologies have been adopted? You'll see there that 82% of companies have adopted email marketing, while only 42% have adopted marketing automation. But if you scan up the list, kind of the search marketing, the marketing analytics, the social media marketing, and the email marketing itself, you'll see that your marketing automation platform can do all of those things. Sam, HubSpot and other providers are evolving to incorporate customer relationship management and content management systems, and in fact now refer to their software more as inbound marketing software. Can you speak to this evolution, and will we continue to see more of this in marketing automation?
Definitely, yeah. So the whole premise behind the lead to loyal philosophy that SilverTech has is actually having all of your information and all of your data in one place. And there's a lot of other organizations that share that same kind of premise and belief. And so it's all getting towards having one source of truth and really combining that sales and marketing team, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. For some, it's actually called smarketing, blurring the lines between sales and marketing, which is kind of, it's interesting. So in order to have your sales and marketing team working towards the same goals, they need to be working off the same set of data. And so a lot of these organizations, these third-party providers of marketing automation systems, CRM systems, have started to purchase or to build out those different features. So that's why you're seeing businesses like Salesforce buy Pardot. That's why you're seeing HubSpot build out their platform even more. And I mean, you're even seeing Salesforce buy Demandware and turning it into the e-commerce cloud. So there's a lot of, it's not necessarily a land grab, but it's really just trying to get all that information in one place so you can make some actionable insights with it.
Moving on to kind of rethinking marketing automation. The more time you spend with a sophisticated marketing automation platform, as Sam mentioned, the HubSpots, Marketos, Pardots, the more you realize actually that automation is only a minor benefit and far from a key selling point. In fact, I'd say a modern marketer whose day-to-day tasks have them in their marketing automation platform would undoubtedly tell you that a little of what they do is automated. I would say a marketing automation platform is more like marketing sophistication rather than automation. I also like to think of marketing automation as a bridge to the future. I don't know if you heard, but recently Lowe's rolled out these exoskeletons for their employees. They're testing them out in some stores. And these exoskeletons enable employees to lift. It stores energy and allows them to lift much more than they could normally do. I see a parallel in what marketing automation can do for the marketer. It essentially allows you to scale and do a lot more than you could normally do. Let's move on now to the 10 tips to make the most of your marketing automation. So I think we've established what it is and what it isn't, and maybe even touched on what it may become. But this is what we're here for today, is to learn how to get the most out of it. Tip number 1, this is really before you get started, and 90% of us on this call today are not using marketing automation, so this is certainly a step that you can take, great value before you even have a marketing automation platform in place, is to develop your personas.
Yes.
Personas are the foundation of personalized one-to-one communication, the fictitious representations of your audience. Sam, we've talked a great deal about personas recently. What role do they play in marketing automation?
Yeah, so this is a really good kind of foundation to set. So we have done other webinars on personas, and we have some other downloads that are available on silvertech.com, which I would definitely recommend if folks who are on this webinar about marketing automation start looking to get started. Personas is really a great place to go first. So they really are the foundation of marketing automation. So again, going back to Constant Contact and MailChimp versus a HubSpot or a Pardot, the segmentation that you do in a MailChimp is not the personalization that you do within HubSpot and Pardot. And that personalization is all based on personas. So what they are is, as Ian said, fictional representation of your audience. And it's really the power behind marketing automation is being able to deliver a piece of content or an offer or something that will delight your user and help move them across the different pieces of the buyer's journey or the customer journey. And so that's actually anticipating the next best conversation. And the way that you anticipate that is by having information so you know what that next best conversation is, and personas give you the information to do that. So you know what their likes are, their dislikes are, their frustrations, their barriers, and you know what their ideal experience is so that you can anticipate it and actually map it out to that. So that's really why personas are the number one place to start here.
And speaking of mapping, the second tip really is to map the customer journey. Another thing you can do before you've implemented a marketing automation platform. Here's an example of one of our customer journey maps for a sample student in higher ed. Again, it's just mapping the content to solve problems for your audience. The third thing you can do is to document your content marketing strategy. So a content marketing strategy establishes your brand standards and editorial direction for all content, including your web, email, blog, social channels, and keeps in mind your audience's unique pain points, challenges, and motivations. Sam, how important is it to document your content marketing strategy?
So remembering that the content marketing strategy is everything that's outside of your organization, so how you're going to speak to your prospects, very important, because one, you need to know where you're going before you can create a path to get there, so that's always helpful in figuring out what you're going to do. But then also because you want others in your organization to kind of jump on board, share that content, and even act as thought leaders. You may have people who are experts in what you do, and you need their input, you need their information to be able to put together a white paper or a webinar or a blog post. And so by documenting that, giving it a little bit more legs, it's really important to share that throughout. And so that's why it's important to document your content marketing strategy. And it can be as simple as having a Excel spreadsheet. Whatever you do, start small, start strong, but do something. And that's a great way to go about it.
Have it one source of truth.
One source of truth, yes, exactly. So before we move on to the rest of the tips, I just want to remind everyone again that we do have webinars about personas, about customer journey mapping, and about content marketing strategy. All three of those are available on SilverTech.com if anyone is interested.
Excellent, thank you, Sam.
Yes.
That's the baseline now before you get started. So let's move into kind of what your first campaigns are going to look like once you've implemented a marketing automation platform. So our fourth tip is really to keep it simple. With your personas, journey map, and strategy in place, you'll have this baseline for understanding how, where, when, and why your audience is interacting with your brand online. Here is a look at a top-of-mind campaign. Sam, thoughts on top-of-mind campaigns as a starting point?
Yeah, these are the best ones because it's normally something that is most recent for you, so it's kind of easy to put together. But right out of the gate, it's a good idea to segment a small section of your database, as they've done here, and test a blog. So send an email with a recent blog post, followed by a check-in email. This one is 5 days, but it can be anywhere from 5 to 7 days later. And then assign the points for click-throughs in that email, and if the recipient interacts with both of your emails, then set up a trigger to alert a sales representative. So you can see here that is the link clicked yes, is the link clicked no, adjusting the lead score, and then if they are there, again, sending them to that sales rep. So as your skills advance, you can then move the engaged members of the original list into a drip campaign. There is no right way to set up campaigns. You can do them multiple different ways, but this is the best way to kind of get started is an interaction, a wait, adjust the lead score, and then a check-in.
We then recommend, with your first campaigns as you move on, is to nurture before you attract. So it'll feel natural enough once you've launched that first campaign to incorporate new triggers and develop the complexity of your workflows. So as you build out your next set of campaigns, stay focused on nurturing your current database or those recently added. So though the ultimate goal will be to grow your customer base, there are many advantages to having a fully engaged existing database, as evidenced by the 45% of marketers surveyed by HubSpot hoping to increase revenue from existing customers. So
Yeah, so we've recently written about how marketing automation can be used to create an onboarding program in banking. The same principles can be applied in higher ed to welcome new students or at a hospital for new patients. There's a lot of different ways that you can do this.
Number 6, coordinate with sales. That's marketing we talked about earlier. This is one of the key benefits of a fully integrated marketing automation platform. It's this transparency that you can give to your sales team into how, when, where, and why prospects have engaged with marketing. However, to fully achieve this promised nirvana of sales and marketing alignment, it's critical to communicate campaign plans with your sales team ahead of time. Sam, any tips you can share to achieve sales and marketing alignment?
Yes, I always love this picture because it reminds me of Captain Planet. Which is, I mean, it's really all about a team. So in order to achieve sales and marketing alignment, I think the number one thing is great communication. Great communication. Anything less, it becomes an issue. Having a single source of truth, as we've mentioned previously. And then the last thing I added was just a little bit of a sense of humor, always necessary when bringing teams together. So sense of humor actually should probably be the first one.
Yeah. Tip number 7, be you and be human. As we discussed before, marketing automation does more than automate emails. It essentially clones you, the marketer, and enables you to effectively scale up your communications. So as you do scale, it's critical that you take the time to ensure that your communications, no matter how small they seem, remain personal.
Thank you pages and follow-up emails after content downloads are 2 areas where communication frequently becomes impersonal. So this is something that you really need to look at. As marketers, we put a great deal of effort up front into creating that content, the email to drive traffic to the content, and the landing page where the content lives, but we often overlook the importance of what happens after the download. So don't forget about those kinds of things either.
The 8th on our list is grow your lists organically. And this almost goes without saying. So your most effective campaigns, for example, will come from lists built around new subscriptions to your blog or shows that you've exhibited at. With Marketing Sherpa is reporting that B2B data can decay at a rate of almost 2.1% per month. It can be tempting to consider buying new lists, but try to avoid this as much as possible. Instead of a bot list, you could end up with a bot list, a B-O-T list. Sam, any tips you can think of when it comes to building lists organically?
Yeah, and I have a couple thoughts on this too. So I think everyone is probably guilty of buying a list at some point in time, and that's not against the rules to buy a list. It's absolutely not against the rules to buy a list. It is against the rules to email a bot list and then continue emailing that bot list without any opt-ins. So here's my rule of thumb on this. So if you need to buy bot lists, if there's no other thing that you can do, make sure that you are following the canned spam rules and that you have the double opt-ins and you're doing what you need to do. Most of that list that you bought is going to decay right off the bat. You're not going to get everyone to convert because it's simply just a numbers game at that point. So you should look at that. If you're using any type of a call campaign, look at it at the same percent conversion rate. You're probably looking at about 2% of that bot list is actually going to opt in. And I'd be interested if anyone has had more success than that. One of the tips that we actually use quite frequently, because we know that folks who attend our industry trade shows are already looking for, or are more likely to look for services that we provide, we actually have a pretty heavy trade show effort as well as some associations that we work with to be able to get those lists. And then we know that it's already pre-qualified in that particular way and can work with them to go through the canned spam, doing double opt-ins and making sure that everyone is where we need to be. Ultimately, you don't want to have folks who are on in your list that don't want to hear from you. That's not, you're wasting your time, you're wasting their time. So really important to kind of think through that whole strategy and not get, it's a really tempting slippery slope to just buy lists and email them.
On to tip number 9, it's time to get social. As your campaigns develop in complexity and your content gets better at attracting new clients, it can be tempting to remain in the inbox. Email remains one of the surest channels in your toolbox, but increasingly, social is where new clients are won. Sam, there's still debate here. Pros and cons of posting natively or through an automation platform.
Yeah, so this, so obviously the social networks want to make sure that they're keeping people in their platform as long as possible, because the more data that they have, the more advertising that they're able to sell, right? So It is interesting though, because they don't talk to each other. As marketers, who I know we're managing at least 5 different social networks, and a lot of other places, especially the B2C business, has a lot more than that, to try and gather all of that data. So essentially the difference is, if you're posting natively, you have a lot of control over what that post looks like. They share, all of the social networks share what the best image sizes are. You can really make your posts look great, and you don't have to worry about whether or not something posting from a third party, like a link, looks good when it finally gets there. And all the social networks are actually doing a lot of work to step up their scheduling game as well as their data game. They were kind of lacking in that for a while, which is why those third party platforms like Hootsuite actually managed to gain quite a bit of ground. So that's kind of the native part of it. The third party part, obviously it's very easy to manage all of your social networks in one location. So if marketers are dealing with 9 different channels, that does help quite a bit. But there is a risk in terms of whether or not something is going to post correctly, because how much the social networks are changing their APIs and their algorithms. So essentially, the advice that I can give here is, if you have the time to do things manually in terms of collecting data on how your social is doing, then I would recommend actually posting natively, and then or potentially having both. If you are really just need to get things done and you can share content between your different channels, then Hootsuite might actually be the way to go for you. But it's really going to be up to your brand and how close. If you're a control freak like me, you might want to be actually in the actual systems itself.
The final tip we'll share is just to really always be improving. If sales should be always be closing, marketing should always be improving. And this is where that data from your marketing automation platform comes in. You're going to get insight into how your content's performing, how it's engaging your audience, and just it'll help you make that better content and just keep creating better leads for your organization.
Right. Use the data to improve your content marketing efforts and keep your sales team informed, happy, busy, and with a strong pipeline of eager candidates.
To review those tips, before you get started, you want to develop personas, map the customer journey, document your content marketing strategy. Then as you launch your first campaigns, just keep it simple, nurture before you attract, coordinate with sales, be you, be human. Then as you're taking it to the next level, you want to grow your lists organically, get social, and use the data to always be improving.
Perfect.
So before we conclude, I just want to spend a few minutes on how to choose the right platform. So marketing automation is relatively young, and as we discussed earlier, still evolving into what it will likely become, an all-in-one digital marketing intelligence, analytics, content, and relationship hub. So we mentioned earlier that 42% of companies are currently using marketing automation, only 10% on our webinar today, but that, I think, if we picked any sample group, that could very well be the case. But of those using marketing automation, 19% have switched platforms or are considering switching platforms. So I mention this because I feel like there's still a lot of movement in this industry, and as you see in our next slide, the leaders, I think we'll see more platforms emerge, and it's really important to consider your needs as you shop around for marketing automation platform. Sam, can you talk to us a little bit about who you see there in the leaders category?
Yeah, so as Ian was just saying, there are a lot of marketing automation platforms, and you can these are only the ones that are actually ranked by G2. There's a lot more than this that are out there that are doing different things. And so in that upper right-hand quadrant, same kind of thing as like the Gartner Magic Quadrant or Forrester, you can see that upper right-hand quadrant is really where those leaders are in the space.
Right.
Our partners are all in there. That's where they tend to hang out. Any one of those platforms that are up there. So you've got HubSpot, you've got Pardot, you've got Marketing Cloud, you've got Marketo, you've got Acton and Adobe. Any of those will serve a business well. There are individual needs per business that would help to figure out whether or not you would lean more toward a HubSpot or a Pardot. Each system that's there does things differently, and for some, the priority for the system is actually going to make a big difference in the priority for the business. So if you need to be more agile, you may go in one direction, but if you need to have an enterprise system that integrates with different things, you may go in another. So really take a look at what your needs are as a business. before you start to even get demos from the different marketing automation platforms. So then you have kind of that foundation, that stake in the ground saying, well, this is what we all agreed that we needed before you actually start evaluating systems, and then you won't get swayed one way or the other. They're all really great, they're all really flashy, and they all do what they need to do. So just to kind of keep in mind as you're going through that process.
Absolutely. And not only do they all do know what you need to do, I think our 10 tips apply for whoever you choose to go with here.
Any one of them.
It's the same rules, but
definitely.
So let's wrap it up. I want to return to that thought from our partners at Marketo. We've talked a lot about the significant effort required to really make marketing automation work. We've shared tips how to get the most out of it, but it's important to step back and just remind ourselves why it's all worth it. So again, marketing automation helps scale marketing initiatives, deliver more personalized and targeted communications, align with sales, and measure which channels and programs are most effective. For anyone marketing in 2017, each of these benefits is just absolutely critical. That really concludes our presentation for today, unless there are any questions. At this time, I don't see any. I really appreciate everyone joining us today. Thank you so much to Sam for taking the time to share her expertise.
Thanks, everybody. If anyone does have any questions, you're more than welcome to email us at info@silvertech.com, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Thank you again.
Thanks. Bye-bye.